Hi, hello, hi, welcome to my video. Welcome, hi, hello, friends, family. We are here to talk about quarter one. Quarter one is over. Like, that was so fast. How did the year fly by so fast? Like, I can't believe it's already May. Today, we're going to be talking about the top 5 books I've read during January, February, and March. And then I'm going to be doing this for every quarter of the year. So quarter 2, and then quarter 3, and then quarter 4. Because there's 4 quarters in a year. So we're going to, yes, go ahead and get started. All right, so we're going to go from number 5 all the way down to number 1. 5 being like, this was great. It's literally number 5. And then going to like number 1 being like, this one, this is it. This is the one. Okay, like if you were to read just one of my selections, this is it. This is the one that I need you to read. So starting off at number 5, we have Among Thieves by M.J. Kun. Now, I read this one for a vlog where I blind pick, I'll put the link here, but I read this in a blog where I blindly picked like books at Barnes & Noble. Like, I didn't look up the synopsis. I didn't look up the reviews. I literally just went off of the cover and then I went home and read them. This one was one of them and I actually really enjoyed this one a lot. So in this one, we are following a group of like ragtag characters. So this book pretty much feels like a mixture of like Guardians of the Galaxy, but make them like back in the day, medieval times-ish, mixed with Pirates of the Caribbean, mixed with Throne of Glass. If that sounds fantastic to you, you might want to check out this book because it was really good. So we follow a group of like ragtag criminals, right? And they all work for this one man. And then they get sent on this quest pretty much to go steal something that is pretty much known to be unstealable. But once you do, you have the chance to get a lot of money. And they're meant to get this item for this man, but they each have their own ulterior motives for wanting it. One person thinks that they're going to take it to save, you know, their sister so they can use the money to save their younger sister. And then we have our main character who wants it for a whole different purpose. And so it's like all these people that are working together, yet they all want to betray each other. So how is it going to work? Especially when you have to literally like roll out Mission Impossible with a group of people that you don't even trust. It was really good. The banter was very witty, was very fun. Our main character, Raya was so much like Aelin / Celaena Sardothien from Throne of Glass. So if you liked Celaena Sardothion's personality, you would love the main character of this book. Literally just like Aelin, but make her queer. This is for you. This is for you. So at number 4, we have None of This Is True by Lisa Jewell. This is a book that I was supposed to have, but Book of the Month never sent it to me. They never sent it to me and they just gave me a credit and I just got something else with it instead. But anyways, this book, we basically follow this woman, these 2 women, right? We have Josie and then we have Alex, I believe is the other girl. And they are both celebrating their birthday. Now, Josie's life is completely different from Alex. She's celebrating her birthday with a whole group of friends. She has a handsome husband. And she looks like she's like living it up. You know, she's like living the life. And then Josie's looking at her and she's like, oh, she's celebrating her birthday too. And she's just with her husband, you know, like kind of like having this little moment, kind of like crisis, like, oh my gosh, like I wish that was me. You know, it's time for me to turn my life around. You know, she's turning 45. And she sees this woman who literally is turning the same exact age as her. And when she sees the woman, Alex, go into the bathroom, she's like, oh, I'm going to follow her. I kind of want to talk to her. So Josie goes into the bathroom to see Alex. And she's like, hey, I saw that you're celebrating your birthday. It's my birthday too. She's like, you're turning 45. I'm turning 45 too. And the more they talk, the more they realize that they were born in the same place. Both have the exact same birthday. And then Josie was like, oh, she realizes that Alex does podcasts on like successful women and things like that. But Alex is tired of doing that. She wants to do something different. So Josie pitches her the idea of like, how about you follow me as I change my life? Because it's about time that I change my life too and get out of this broken marriage, that was like really twisted, and the more we learn about it, the more we realize that it was messed up, how messed up her marriage was, her childhood was. And so we follow them on this journey as they make this podcast, but then something more sinister happens, and the more Alex learns about Josie, the more she's questioning if it's really true. It's so good. Like, this was a really good book. I literally finished it. Like, I listened to the audiobook for this one, and I went through this like in 1 or 2 days, which is pretty fast for me, especially for an audiobook. I just could not stop listening. It was a 5 out of 5 star. The mic drop, oh my gosh, like it's so fast paced. This is a real like page turner. Like, if you want something, if you are in a reading slump and you want something that's thrilling, that's literally going to keep you engaged from start to finish, this one's the one for you. This is the book for you. If you are new to thrillers and you want to dabble in the genre and you're wondering and you like fast-pacedness, this is the one for you. All right, so next, coming in at number 3, we have the book that literally gave me an existential crisis, and that is Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow by Gabrielle Zevin. I don't know what to say about this book. Like, in this book, if I tell you the synopsis, it doesn't sound so entertaining, but you're gonna have to take my word for it. And book of the year, book of the month, annual award there for word for it as well, because a lot of people really love this book, and I see why. In this one, we are basically following 2 characters. We're following Sam, and we are following, oh gosh, what's the girl's name? Sadie. We are following Sam and Sadie, and we are following them from when they're 12 years old all the way up until like their like mid-30s, as they come together and they start playing video games together, and then they realize that they both really love video games. They grow up, go to college, and then like Sadie's still creating video games, so she gives Sam like a demo, and then they eventually come together and make a huge video game that literally like kickstarts their whole career together, and we follow them through the years as they, you know, take this amazing journey. We follow their life, we follow their success, we follow their careers, their love, their friendship, and it's so complex and so realistic that I just loved it. It was very slice of life, it was very character driven, and the writing style just hooks you. Like, Gabrielle Zevin had a way of, she could literally put anything on a page, and I just ate it all up. Like, everything was so fascinating. Each and every single line was so entertaining and fascinating, because she wrote it in such a way that just like kept you engaged, you know. And I'm not a very like character driven type of girl. I don't really like slow build books, and this was definitely a very like slower paced book. I am someone that needs something fast paced or else I get bored, but with this I didn't. Because there was just so much meaning to it. I liked how complex, how realistic these characters were, so fleshed out. They literally felt like I was talking to another human being. I literally felt like I was in another human being's head. How complex they are, how like morally gray, like we're not completely good and we're not completely bad. We just do a bit of both, you know. We do bad things, we do good things. It's just a part of being human. And just like how almost little you feel, how life continues after death, how life continues no matter what happens. Like, life just continues, you know. You're just like this little minuscule person in this like grand scheme of things. It really, like, I was already going through like burnout when I read this, and when I read it, it literally just like sent me crashing down into like a whole like mental thing. But the fact that a book was able to mess up my brain that much, and still like I'm still continuing to like cope with these things, that just goes to show that it affects you really bad. If you are already having problems mentally, I would probably be careful going into this one, because I didn't think it was going to like, you know, like make me crash as bad as it did. I would probably go into this with like a clear, not that it's like such a negative book, but it just like makes you think about deeper things in life. So if you are already very like fragile right now, I wouldn't necessarily pick this one up yet until your mind can handle it, because I made that mistake. But overall, it was a really good book. I really enjoyed it. The cover is beautiful. The characters were so real, were very fleshed out. And the writing was just amazing. And this is coming from someone that like needs a fast-paced novel to be entertained. This was a fast-paced and it still kept me entertained the whole way through. Okay, so the next one that I'm going to mention, number 2 on my list, I put 2 of them together. So it is the A Court of Thorns and Roses series, most specifically the first book in the series. I know I might be the underdog in saying that I really enjoyed the first book, and then the third book in the series. Everyone talks about the second book, like, oh, Court of Mist and Fury, A Court of Mist and Fury. No, I lived for the third one. So I guess it depends on the type of person you are. So basically, A Court of Thorns and Roses, if you guys somehow do not know what this series is about, it's basically like a Beauty and the Beast retelling, and we follow our main character, Feyre, as she is basically fending for herself and for her family, because her family has lost all their money. Their mom has passed away and their dad has a disability, so he can't hunt. The sisters are just spoiled brats and they don't want to do anything. They don't even want to help Feyre with anything. They just attack her even though she's the one bringing home food. And then one day Feyre is trying to get food and she bumps into like this huge wolf. So she ends up shooting the wolf, killing the wolf, and then selling its fur. Turns out that wolf was a fae. Okay, he was a fairy. He was a fae. And then a beast comes to her home that night and is like, you killed my friend in cold blood. So now the treaty says that you have to live with me for the rest of your days, or I can just kill you. So Feyre decides to go with him and live out the rest of her days with him. And thus a Beauty and the Beast retelling ensues, and you can just assume that it's a lot of romance. I really liked the first book a lot. I thought it was good. Like, Beauty and the Beast is like probably one of my favorite fairy tales. So I really enjoyed the first book. And I also enjoyed the third one a lot as well. Why? I know a lot of people like the second one because it's very romance heavy. But I feel like if you are I'm a romance person, but I feel like if you like fast-paced, action-filled books, you're gonna like enjoy the third book in the series a lot more, because that's very like action-packed. It's not heavy on the romance, but it is heavy on the action, and I love that. I love that. I ate it up. Out of all of them, the third book is my number 1, and then the second book is like my number 2, but I just wanted to put that series in here without like separating it, because it's a series. So yeah, so that's coming in at number 2. And now let's get to number 1. Drum roll, please. So the number 1 book that I read so far in 2024 actually was the first book that I finished in 2024. And that is The Three Body Problem by Cizin Liu, translated by Ken Liu. As you can see, I devoured this book. This was so good. Okay, this is another one that I read as part of the like blindly picking books at Barnes & Noble or whatever. That was another one that I read for that vlog, that I randomly picked books without looking at the synopsis or whatever. I just looked at the cover and I was like, yes, this one. And I am so glad that I did. I am so happy. Okay, I have not watched the Netflix series. I know there's a Netflix series. I have not watched it because it looks almost as if I have to read the whole trilogy. It looks like they mixed a bit of the trilogy in there because the trailer doesn't seem like it has everything from the first books. It looks like it's mixed in with the other 2 books as well. So I want to make sure that I read the whole trilogy before I watch the show. It's such a complex plot. I'm gonna try to see if I could simplify the plot. In this book, we are following our main character. First, we are following our main character, Wenji. So we follow Wenji as she sees her father basically be, like unalived in front of a whole group of people, because this whole group of people, they don't want people to believe in like science. And her teacher was like a science professor. They're called like the Red Guards or something like that. And so they don't want people to believe in that. They want to basically like bring forth like communism, I believe it's communism, and they don't want people to believe in science. So they unalive the dad in front of everybody. Wenji sees it, and so traumatizes her. But eventually she grows up and she ends up working for the Red Guards, so for the bad guys, in their like science, I guess, center, their astronomy center, where they send out these signals and nobody really knows what these signals do. There is a whole bunch of controversy going around what these signals do, because a lot of people tend to have radiation poisoning. A lot of people's hair tends to fall. They're like, what are these signals doing to us? Like, what's the reason for these signals? Now, many years later, so we follow another character who is a scientist or whatever, and he gets put on this like assignment to investigate why all these physicists are unaliving themselves. And they all kind of unalive themselves, leaving the same note that physicists doesn't exist. Everything that we know about the universe doesn't exist. And that kind of like leads them to, you know, like go a little bonkers and be like, none of this is true. I don't know what's going on. I'm just going to unalive myself. And, you know, the main character at first, he like thinks that all this is like crazy talk, but then he starts to see things that just are not possible. For example, he closes his eyes and he is able to see a time just like go down, go down, go down. He's working on this like hadron. So he's working on like this big like particle collider, and he's told to turn it off. Like he needs to stop working on that. And he's like, yeah, sure, whatever. I'm still going to do it. I don't care what you say. And she's like, all right, you're still going to do it. I'm going to give you a time. I'm going to give you a timeline, because as soon as this time is up, like, you don't want to know what comes next. And he's like, all right, sure, whatever. And sure enough, he wakes up one day and he sees a timeline, like the time ticking down in front of his face, like before his very eyes. Like he can see in his brain through his eye sockets, there's a timer going down, and he's like going crazy, and he's like, you don't see that, you don't see that, and nobody can see it but him. And so he's going a little bit bonkers, and then he's like, all right, fine, like, send me another sign. And she's like, okay, at this time, I'm gonna make the whole world blink, like the whole universe is gonna blink. And he's like, all right, you can't do that. And sure enough, the universe blinks. Okay, everything just goes black and then comes back. And he's like, holy ravioli, what is going on here? And so while that is all happening, there is a video game, VR virtual reality game called The Three Body Problem, that tends to be mainly popular with physicists. And in this Three Body Problem, they live in this like post-apocalyptic sort of world where in order to sustain life on Earth, the bodies have to be dehydrated and then come back whenever it's safe to rehydrate. And there's just so much to this plot. I can't even begin to explain it. I thought that I was going to be lost reading this, but you get the hang of it. You know, like, I'm not the smartest person on earth. So if I can get the hang of it, you can get the hang of it. It was so good. I was obsessed. I was absolutely obsessed. I loved it so much, and I want to complete the trilogy. So this was definitely number one. So that is my top 5 for 2024, quarter one so far. Let me know what's your guys' number 1 or top 5, whatever you want to give me. If you haven't yet, please hit that subscribe button and turn on that notification bell to be notified when I post. I post twice a week. And yeah, so thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye. Because there's just so much going on, just like outside. I have like a mic on, so I'm hoping you guys can't hear the train and the birds and the sirens. But hey, that's LA, right? Hello everyone, I am back with a different hairstyle. Well, I'm back, hi, with a different hairstyle. Welcome, welcome. I dyed my hair and I'm excited for it. I'm really happy. Okay, I've been wanting to do this for a long time, and I'm glad that I'm finally doing it. Like, I am glad that I finally did it, because I've been so scared to cut my hair because it was long, and I decided to do that wolf haircut. I really wanted to. I didn't style it, but I'm glad that I did it. And I did my little goth bangs that I've been wanting for a very, very long time. It's not as short as, like, I was thinking of doing it, but they're still, you know, they're there. They're cool. They're cool.